USAID. I'm not surprised. I'm probably more surprised that people are surprised that the government has been misusing funds for their own benefit. And the information coming out about this from, I guess Elon Musk is going in and releasing some of this information about how money's been spent. And I was watching a podcast with Joe Rogan and Mike Benz, I believe, and they were talking about this. And I'm like, yeah, duh. The government has been doing this for a while. This is why I don't vote. This is why I don't get involved in these things, because I don't want to participate in a broken system. So I'm surprised that people are surprised, because I'm like, where have you been? Do you not understand that this has been going on for a long, and this is the other thing that I want to get to is this has been going on, whether it was with Biden, whether it was with Trump before, whether it was with Obama, whether it was with Bush. These things have been going on for a long time. And Mike Benz touched on it, that this infiltrates all areas of, propaganda through, coverage on the media and paper and TV and internet and social media. And we're finding more about this stuff. And I'm sitting there going like, of course, I have inherently known about this stuff for ages. And I guess what's another shocking thing, I guess you could say, if I'm surprised, is the fact that all this information, or some of this information, was public. This is according to Mike Benz, that this stuff was out there already, but it took someone like Elon and the direction of the government to actually put it out there, where he said he's known about this stuff for a while and anybody can look it up. And this is why more people are starting to find it out. But anyways, I'm sitting there and I'm going, where have you been? Number one. Number two, it's the government who, we don't keep tabs on them anymore. We used to have, back in the day, I guess when government started, we used to have checks and balances. Now we let them spend. I mean, think about the Ukraine war. How many people were supportive of them supporting these things when we had issues going on our own soil? There were so many people in our country that were like, yeah, we shouldn't be giving them these supplies and this and that. Maybe we don't want them to die, but at the same time, we have our own issues. We should stay out of it. That wasn't gone to a vote. The government just goes and does what they want to do. They've been doing this forever. And this is why I'm not surprised overall, is because the government goes, hey, we're doing this thing. People complain about it on Twitter. Nowadays, we have ways that we can voice our opinion, right? People complain about it. Maybe in the past, it was letters to the editor, right? It was people voicing their opinion. And then nowadays, we have all this information or all this access to be able to communicate. And the government or powers that be, they look at what we're saying and they go, oh, they're upset about the war, us giving money to Ukraine. And then they see a tweet from someone, or they see interactions on social media, people making videos about it, and they're upset. And then they go, okay, let's just wait. And then 24 hours later, they move on to something else. Our memories are so short-lived. We don't persist with anything. We just give up. We just go, oh, well, what can you do about it? And the government goes, wait, they're upset about something. They know that we're doing these things without their best interest or without their consent, right? The idea of democracy has kind of gone away, and they're not going to persist. They're just going to let us do this. And they're already moved on to, oh, the Lakers are playing, or there's some other news media thing that's going on. Okay, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Maybe there's some controversy that comes out. Let's wait a little bit. Let's see what people say. Oh, they've moved on. Okay, the Clippers are playing now. All right, the Steelers are playing. It's like people just move on. I was going to make a video about the Super Bowl. It's like everything stops for the Super Bowl. All the news media changes their tune to focus on that. All of us stop what we're doing. Hey, I'm out there protesting. Let's take a break. Let's watch the Super Bowl. I feel like the government knows that about us. And they just go, well, they say one thing, but they don't really follow up. So we can just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We can make let's have you, hey, Jim, my buddy Jim, let's have you make this corporation, then we'll fund you, all right, through some of this money, and then we'll just kind of pass that money around. And it's like, yeah, this is what the government's been doing because we don't keep checks and balances on them. Now, my question is, is with the new Trump administration and with Elon, how are we going to keep checks and balances on them so that this stuff doesn't happen again? Because if, like Mike Benz was saying, if this stuff is public and they know that, is Elon and Trump, are they doing this to get on our good side to say, hey, we're uncovering this stuff, but they're now finding better ways of hiding it? That was another thing that I was saying. I was surprised that it was so easy to find, and that, I guess, like I said, Mike Benz, according to him, it's kind of public knowledge. You can look this stuff online if you know where to look. And I'm going, if I was the government, I'd at least try to hide it a little bit better. But I think they got so arrogant because we've shown that we don't care. They may have put this information out there like, it's out there. They don't pay attention. They say they care, but they're not even willing to look past, like do a little bit of research. I think that's so common of most people is we just get upset about things and then we move on. We get upset about things, we move on. We don't actually put in the time and effort to uncover things and then actually do something about it. So I think the arrogance that we see in government is justified. They've seen that we don't really care. We say we care, but we don't really take the action to care and do anything about it. So they just keep doing it as they do. Now, of course, you were probably saying, well, these people in positions of power and positions of our government, they should be working for us. Well, all that stuff went away when we just allowed them to spend money and do whatever they want and create proxy wars and, all these different things. Like one of the memes is like, we don't have any wars on foreign soil. And then like these guys are in the military who are in like Africa, like, what do you mean? We're not participating in any of these wars. Like, who are we then? It's like, we know this stuff is going on all the time, but we just don't persist because I say all the time, we're just too fat and happy. We like our Netflix, we like our cheeseburgers, and we're just going to continue to do what we do. Maybe now we're fed up with it, and maybe it's at the right time, and this is why people are, reading this stuff and retweeting it and getting interested in it and diving into the details of this information that's coming out. But I still have to say, where have you guys been? This is what I've been saying. I said, until we have a way of keeping these people accountable, which we still don't, mind you. This is what the people on the left are complaining about with Elon, is they're saying he has too much power. They're saying that he's going to then, and they might be right. They might be right. Who knows if they're just coming up with, hey, like I said, we're going to get on your good graces. We're going to show you that there was this corruption going on, which was still happening during Trump's first administration, mind you. He didn't reveal any of this stuff during his first administration like he said he was. So second administration, hey, he's doing right. But are they using this as a tool to get on our good side so that they can find a better way to hide this information now? Hey, we're going to give Elon all this power, and then he's going to come up with a better way of making sure that this information doesn't get out there. I don't know, but we will never know unless if we really come up with a way that can keep eyes and tabs on everyone. And that's why I say, if you're in a position of government, if you're a public servant, you're public now. Everything that you do has to be public, because if not, as soon as you go in that back room, you start making deals, start talking to companies and corporations and putting money in offshore accounts. I mean, it's so easy for you to be bought and sold, and that's my problem with government. It's just exchanging money back and forth between corporations, government programs, okay, and politicians and lobbyists, and it's just a circle jerk that keeps going on and on. And so that's why I'm not surprised. But where have you people been? And maybe we're ripe now, we're ready to make these changes, but we're still not out of the woods yet, because again, like I said, if we don't keep accountability on Trump and on Elon, and if he doesn't come up with some transparent way of keeping the politicians intact, this will just happen again. Maybe Elon's a good guy and he puts something in place, but as soon as, maybe Trump's a good guy and he puts everything in place and things go well, as soon as it changes hands and that person, let's just say, can be corrupted, if we don't have a way of looking at it and seeing it and following the money, it's going to happen again. So the system has to change. That's what I think we're ready for. I'm ready for it. Look, I know we are all about privacy and security, and we want to make sure that we have our own stuff. But if you're in the public eye, that has to kind of go away. And my opinion on it is that somewhat has to go away, because if not, then the same process is going to happen again. You're going to be able to go, well, I have this money, I have this budget, and I can spend it however I want. And no one's looking. I'm just only talking to these people. I don't have to report anything to anybody. Or if I do have to report it, I can write it down as some other thing, and then I can, you know what I mean? So it gets lost in the scuffle. And because we get so excited about things, and I guess this is what Mike Benz was talking about, where now the government can then influence media to then talk about another topic. So on days where I report things, or on when I'm talking to people, we're focused on other things. I think we just need more transparency overall. I wanted to talk about war and things like that, and what's going to happen in the future. And I was going to make another video about, it's like, well, when do we get to the point where it's AI drone versus AI drone? And it's like, what are we really doing when we're creating wars where there's no real humans being lost? It's fought on, over the sea. And it's like, what are we really doing at that point? So what I'm trying to get my point is if a lot of this effort is to control other governments, like we're using money and using funds to be able to overthrow other governments so that we can take, part in them, so that we can make more money through the people that we wanted elected through in their country. Now we have this better relationship with them because they play ball with us, and we can continue this process of passing money around or controlling their resources so that we can use them for our benefit. I look at that and I go, like, what's the point of all of this if we're really, as hippie as it sounds, we're all one big country. I know that that's not the case, and we shouldn't have open borders. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if we're all kind of under the same roof, at what point do we start going, hey, what's the use of it? Why not make things better everywhere versus push people down and say that they're enemies? We're all pretty much the same everywhere we go. We're just on different scales of where we're at in our development. And so if we think, oh, we're grandiose United States, we have all this power and influence, we're going to keep that power and influence by pushing everybody down. No, let's lift everybody up. But let's be transparent about that. And this whole idea about wars is like, what do we really want from this situation? That was one of the excuses that Mike Benz talked about with the information being, hey, the government needs to hide information from the people because the people won't understand that there are criminals that are going to, take over in other countries, and we need to push those people down so that we can have a better life. Well, is that true? Is that not? Again, that's up for debate. But what I'm saying is as education goes up and as information gets passed around, we all come to this realization that war is stupid and that fighting over things is stupid. It should be trade. It should be compromise. It should be work together. And if we put that out there as the leader of the world, the United States, the other countries will follow that. Whereas if we put out there, we should dominate and we should put propaganda out to our people, other countries are going to follow that as well. So that's just my hippie belief on how we should be looking at the way that we go about things. So transparency, let's actually start doing the right thing. Let's let the information out there. Hey, we were bad. Okay, that's how it goes. Everyone has their sins. But if we don't have a way of keeping transparency open, the same problems are going to happen again. And so that's why I say, hey, Trump's doing everything that you say he's doing. Keep him accountable. Make sure that make sure he's not setting up some other system so that he can just continue the same process, but it looks like he's not. The information that was found out so easily, I also am skeptical about that. I'm also going, if it was so easy for this to find, it was so easy for this to happen, is there something else behind the scenes that we're not getting? Because it's almost like it was too easy to see this stuff. I knew it inherently that this was stuff going on, but I'm going, okay, well, what's the next step? I don't know. I'm always asking that question, what's next? What's to happen? So those are my thoughts on this. I'm not surprised. I'm more surprised that people were surprised. I mean, come on, where have you been? But again, if we don't keep the transparency open, then these things are just going to continue to happen again in the future. So we have to keep our elected officials accountable. And if they're elected through our elected officials like Elon, we didn't elect Elon, we elected Trump. How do we keep these people accountable, especially when they have so much power and influence? So those are the things that I'm concerned about for the future. And that's it for today.